Hey guys, welcome back to The Bright Side. Macy here, The Bright Side Girl, and today I'm coming at you with some treasure hunting book recommendations. I'm annoyed because I completely forgot that I had all of this cool like pirate shirts and hats and things from my pirate party a couple years ago in like a costume bin in my garage. So we're looking a little bit more festive for this video than I did for my pirate book haul, but better late than never. I've got a pretty decent stack of treasure hunting books to recommend to you. Not to be misleading, but only a couple of these books have like pirates in them or pirate elements. I've got a wide variety, everything from like books set in space to contemporaries to a western. So we've got a bunch of different options if you don't feel like reading just ocean island pirate themed books. Don't worry, I got your back. Treasure hunting is now a permanent reading challenge for Hikeathon, which is my May spring adventure themed readathon that we just ended, but it's going to be a permanent fixture. So save this recommendation video for next year for Hikeathon as well. But it is also a theme for Mermaid Marathon, which is my mermaid and pirate themed readathon. This year we're doing mermaids versus pirates, and one of the reading challenges is treasure hunting or a book with a treasure hunt. So I've got some recommendations for you so you can save this video for future things, or if you're just in the good treasure hunting mood, we're just going to dive right in. All right, I would be remiss if I did not recommend first up, of course, the infamous treasure book Treasure Island by Robert Louis Stevenson is of course a children's classic. This is the pretty like Barnes & Noble leather-bound edition. I finally read this one a couple years ago. I will say that it is a little bit more of a difficult read than some of the other children's classics that I truly adore, like Alice in Wonderland, Secret Garden, things like that. It is a little bit more like wordy and descriptive, but I did really enjoy this one. What I like about these Barnes & Noble ones is they have the like original artwork from the original stories. It's very cool. In this one we're following 12-year-old Jim Hawkins. He finds a treasure map that belongs to a pirate, Captain Flint. Jim and his friends travel to a faraway island and meet ex-crew members for Captain Flint, who are also looking for the treasure, and they take Jim hostage. So this one is just like your quintessential treasure hunting book. It inspired a lot of the books that I'm about to talk about. All right, next we're going to talk about a couple that I don't physically own. So I recently read and absolutely loved Into the Sunken City. This is a young adult standalone new release that I read actually for this video to give you guys some more recommendations. This is before I realized how many recommendations I had, because I knew I hadn't read a lot of pirate books, but I have so many to share with you. And I was not aware, while I knew this kind of had some like water elements, I was not aware that it was a Treasure Island retelling and how piratey it would be. It is so great. If I'd known that, I would have saved it for Mermaid Marathon, but now I can recommend it to you. So this one is set in the slowly sinking city of Cocochino, Arizona. The days are long, the money is tight, and the rain never stops. For Jen Haldar, this life is nothing new. Ever since her father died in a diving accident, she's barely made ends meet for her and her younger sister. Enter Bahili, a drifter who offers Jen and Thahara the score of a lifetime, a massive stash of gold hidden in the sunken ruins of Las Vegas. The atmosphere in this one is epic. We are in this world that is basically like drowned by constant rain, so they're doing a lot of diving and they have to kind of live in this like gloomy atmosphere, do these cool dives to find treasure. There's a lot of pirates, there's a lot of Treasure Island elements to it. The coins are even called like Treasure Island coins, and it is so good. Next we have The Girl from Everywhere by Heidi Heelig. I read this one a couple years ago and it didn't make like a favorites list. I'm feeling the urge to reread it because I didn't love the narrator. I might physically read it at some point. This is part of a young adult duology. Nyx has spent her entire life aboard her father's ship, sailing across centuries, across the world, and across myth and imagination. As long as her father has a map for it, he can sail to any time, any place, real or imagined. 19th century China, the land from 1001 Nights, a mythic version of Africa. Along the way they have found crewmates and friends, and even a disarming thief who has come to mean much more to Nyx. Her father is obsessed with obtaining the one map in 1968 Honolulu that could take him back to his lost love, Nyx's mother, even though getting it and going there could erase Nyx's very existence. The plot's really cool, and I remember like enjoying it, but I think the narrator kind of hindered it for me a little bit. Next, and I have a copy of this, I'm not sure where it went because my book life is a disaster right now. Alright, so Burning Midnight by Will McIntosh. This is becoming one of my favorite books ever and starts the first of a trend of books with this category. I apparently adore books where random objects show up on Earth without explanation and we have to kind of find them and figure out what they're for. So this one has a little bit of a sci-fi element. We're set in our world where these spheres have just shown up. They're these different colored spheres. They have different levels of rarity to them. Certain ones are harder to find, and people will like collect and trade them. And they found out that when you have 2 of them and you put them to your temple, they give you certain like abilities, like to sleep better or to have more energy or to run faster. Some people collect them just to have them. Some will use it, but once you use them, they're like used up and you can't do anything with them. And so different levels and different colors have different values. And our main character has like a booth at like a night market where he sells and pawns these spheres. And then one day Sully shows up with a kind of a more rare sphere and tells him about her hunting, and they decide to kind of team up and hunt for these spheres together. So you're kind of simultaneously trying to figure out why they're there, what it means when they use them, who brought them there, and it is so good. It gets absolutely wild and adventurous towards the end. I loved it so much. It has a great cast of characters, such a good treasure hunting vibe, and very, very unique. Along similar lines, we have Sleeping Giants by Sylvain Neuvel. This is an adult sci-fi trilogy. In this one we have a girl named Rose, and when she was a young girl, she falls into a mysterious hole, and when people come to find her, they realize that the hole is in the shape of a giant hand, and there is a giant metal hand at the bottom of it. So we have this cool hand on the cover as well. So 17 years later, the origins of this giant artifact are unknown. The carbon dating defies belief. Military theories are redacted, and like people are trying to figure out why it was there and what it was for. Rose is a highly trained physicist now, and she is the lead on trying to figure out what this hand does, what it's for, and whether there are more of them. So throughout the book, they're trying to see if there are more of these like artifacts around the globe, and it is incredible. This is one of my favorite trilogies of all time. The audiobook in particular is amazing. Full cast audio, has a few sound effects and things. It's adult, it's sci-fi, but very easy to follow, very like well written and adventurous, and such a good one. Sticking with those sci-fi elements, we have Unearthed and Undying. This is a duology by Amy Kaufman and Megan Spooner. Another sci-fi duology. This one has to do with like aliens and artifacts. It's kind of got like an archaeology vibe to it. Earth intercepts a message from an alien race. The aliens' advanced technology seems to be able to cure like our environmental problems and a bunch of other issues. Their message leads us to discover this planet Gaia, which becomes this treasure trove that we go and hunt for these different like artifacts and technology that will help out the planet. We're following Mia, who is doing this to help her sick sister, and we're following Jules, who is doing this to kind of help with his dad's legacy because he was heavily involved with the research and the expedition for this. So we've got a very cool like almost Indiana Jones, Mummy, archaeology kind of vibe, but it's got aliens and things like that. Again, not hard to follow. We've got a really neat snarky romance in here, and it's just such a fun YA duology. Next we have Earth Girl by Janet Edwards. This is one that I recommend a lot because it's one of my favorites and one of the most unique. This again is a young adult trilogy. This one is set in like 2800, way in the future. We figured out how to like travel to different planets, but when we figured this out, there are a group of people that cannot travel. Their body will not be able to handle the traveling, and so they get kind of left behind as everybody kind of leaves Earth. They're basically like orphans, and Jara is one of them, and she kind of is just sad because her parents left her and she can't travel, and she doesn't like being looked down upon because the people that can travel kind of look down upon the people that have to stay on Earth. However, there's this cool like archaeology thing that they start where they go and uncover different things on Earth, because a lot of people, once we figured out how to travel, just abandoned their homes. And so she will go to different areas and things, and they will kind of do these like digs and searches for artifacts and history. And so people that live on other planets will come back to Earth to do these kind of digs. They have to wear these like special spacesuits and things, and she pretends that she is just like one of them, and she's very skilled at it, and they do basically like a treasure hunting, trying to find all this stuff with history. One of the cutest series I've ever read. It's so good, it's so smart, it's got really neat scientific things that explain how technology advances in certain ways that seem really realistic and probable. It's almost a utopian read because it's just such a pleasant, fun story. Like there's action and adventure, but it's just really like neat to read about. There's a really cute romance in here. Jara is really snarky and fun. The language is kind of silly and unique because they talk differently than we do, but you get used to it. And it's just one of my series series that I can't recommend enough. I really liked her describing her going into the different areas and like the suits that they had to wear and how they worked to dig up all these different artifacts from Earth that has been abandoned. So really, really great. Okay, the last sci-fi one is Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. This is, of course, a really popular adult now duology, but I consider this one a little bit more of a standalone. So in this one, we're in 2044. We are following Wade, who lives in like this trailer park area, and it's very unique. All these different houses and trailers are kind of stacked up on each other, and people live a lot in virtual reality. They'll like work in virtual reality. They'll go to school in virtual reality. In this world called Oasis, a lot of people wind up living in like smaller houses because they're virtually doing things all day, like going to classes in school, and you can kind of pick your avatar. Wade is kind of obsessed with this like virtual world, and when the creator James Holliday announces that he has hidden a series of puzzles and like a game and the winner will receive a massive fortune, everybody starts to go really intensely into the world and trying to figure out what exactly they need to find and do. And Wade is basically this really cool video game virtual reality guy, and he does that. And it's got this very cool kind of dystopian slightly vibe about it. A really unique treasure hunting element because you're looking for these different maps and things, but you're in a virtual world. One of my favorite books ever. Absolutely incredible in audio. Will Wheaton is the narrator, and he's a really cool actor. He was on Star Trek as a kid. He was on Big Bang Theory. He's got kind of that nerdy soul, so he narrates it perfectly. It's so good. If you watch the movie and haven't read the book, it's so different. I enjoyed the movie, but I consider them separate things because this is so awesome and I cannot recommend it enough. All right, now for a piratey one. So Peter and the Starcatchers by Dave Barry and Ridley Pearson. This is a middle grade retelling, almost like a prequel of Peter Pan. We're following Peter and his mysterious new friend Molly as they overcome a band of pirates and thieves to keep this fantastical world safe and save the world from evil. You're following Peter as he goes on these riveting adventures. They are looking for this particular treasure chest that holds the most valuable treasure on Earth, but they're not sure if it's like good or an evil treasure, and you're going on this whole journey, and this is a full series. It's so good. This is also a play or a musical now. One of my favorite books ever. I read this one years ago, like 20 years ago, because Jim Dale was the narrator who does the Harry Potter books, and he does absolutely an incredible job. It very much has that like Harry Potter magical element to it in this middle grade novel. It's a totally different story, but it gives you like that same adventurous, wondrous spirit, and I am constantly pushing this one. Next, we have The Vanishing Deep by Astrid Schultz. This is a YA standalone novel that is extremely unique. I really love Astrid's writing style. So Temp lives in a world of water with only a few remaining islands after the Great Wave hit centuries ago. She spends her days scavenging the ruins of a bygone era for anything of value, but it's not shelter or food she wants to barter for, it's for a life. So basically in this one, we have like this advanced technology where you can bring your loved ones back for like a couple hours to talk to them. And so this comes at a really steep price, and she is trying to hunt for things to get enough money to do this. And then when her sister comes back, she doesn't want to talk about what happened to her and how she died. They want to discover more about their past, and they kind of break out of this facility to go and do that. But there's a lot of like scavenging underwater and diving for different things. So not a super intense treasure hunting element, but it's definitely there. And I really liked the world of this one. It was like a 3.5 for me because the ending wasn't quite what I wanted, but the unique world and the writing is so good that I recommend this one. Then we have Grey Wolf Island by Tracy Nether Scott. I read this last year for Hikeathon, I believe. This one is such a unique read. This one has a more mysterious kind of contemporary magical surrealism vibe. Right before Sadie died, she begged her sister Ruby for one thing: go find the treasure hidden on Grey Wolf Island. With just a mysterious treasure map as her guide, she reluctantly allows a group of friends to help her on her hunt. There's a boy allegedly born to a virgin, a girl who never sleeps, a boy who foresees his own death, and a boy with deep ties to the island. Each of them is also keeping a secret, something they'll have to reveal in order to reach the treasure. So this one has some slightly harder hitting topics, more emotional story to it, but I thought it was really beautiful and well done. A little less adventurous than the other ones. It's just a little bit more of like a emotional read, but I really enjoyed it. Still, it was very unique. Next, we have Daughter of a Pirate King by Trisha Levenseller. I recommend this one constantly. I love this duology so much. Set on a mission to retrieve an ancient map, which is the key to a legendary treasure trove, 17-year-old Elosa deliberately allows herself to be captured by her enemies, giving her the perfect opportunity to search their ship. This is like like a lady Captain Jack Sparrow. It's got a very cute, snarky, fun, angsty romance. Very clean because it's YA, and it's just really fun and funny and clever, and I absolutely loved it. If you haven't read this one already, this is like a must for Mermaid Marathon in particular, and the second book is really good as well. Walk on Earth, A Stranger by Ray Carson. This series is kind of a mix for me. It has the most beautiful covers. This is a Western, like historical fantasy, young adult trilogy. Our main character has the ability to sense gold in the earth, and this makes for a very dangerous life for her. If people find out about this skill, they'll want to like capture her and use her for it. When everything that she knows is ripped from her, she winds up fleeing to California, where gold has just been discovered. The atmosphere in this one is really great. If you're wanting a unique read and you've never read like a Western before, this has that in it. It has some really unique and lovable characters as well. It just wasn't as much about the gold finding and the magic element as I wanted. It is in there, so it will work for the treasure hunting category. I wanted a little bit more from the magic, which we got in the third book. It's still a good one to check out, especially if you want something a little bit more unique. Next, we have What the River Knows by Isabel Ibanez. This is a recent read for me. This is a new release from last year, part of a young adult duology. The second book is not out yet. This one, it was pitched kind of as the Nile meets the Mummy. We're set in Cairo, Egypt, and we have our main character who's kind of like a rich, spoiled girl. Her parents are constantly going off on adventures and leaving her behind, and when she gets word that they have died, she travels to Cairo to be with a new guardian and to kind of uncover what actually happened to her parents. And on the way, there's like some cool treasure hunting elements in here. They go into the pyramids and different things. It's very adventurous. It was a little bit on the slow side. Our main character is a little bit unlikable. Think kind of Jane Austen's Emma, Mary Lennox from Secret Garden. She's kind of spoiled and like a know-it-all, but then like still kind of likable. I just thought this one was very unique. A little bit slow for me, but overall I really enjoyed it, and it was just a different type of read. Okay guys, so those are all of my treasure hunting recommendations for now. Let me know your favorite treasure hunting book down below in the comments. Don't forget to check out my pirate themed book haul if you haven't already. There's lots of fun book recommendations in there as well. I've got more videos to come. Let me know if this helped inspire you for your TBR, and if you like this kind of video. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at The Bright Side Girl, as I do so many other like recommendations and things for the readathon on there as well. And I'll see you guys next time on The Bright Side.
What shall we do with the drunken sailor?